Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. And in today's video I decided to finally film the palette deck again. I haven't filmed it for a little bit over a year. I think I filmed it like December, more than a year ago. So I decided to revisit that and kind of give you some like new palettes to think about and talk about. Some of these categories are the same that I had in the previous video, and some of these are new. Lately I've been watching different palette decks, so just kind of anything that stuck with me, or something that or some of these I just kind of thought on my own, but I'm pretty sure they're part of other people's palette decks as well. Like, I don't think it's anything revolutionary, but I just kind of, I don't know where that idea came from. So I'm gonna try to link people that I know I've inspired myself with, but I don't remember really, because a lot of these are just things that I randomly written in my phone, like on the way to school or something. So, but I'm sure I've seen it in some kind of video. We have 18 categories, so I'm gonna try to be like pretty quick and not spend too long on each product, but I want to give you like a little bit of a reasoning why they're there. So hopefully you will enjoy that. Hopefully I'll give you some inspiration, or just remind you of palettes that you could use that you already have in your collection. And in case you're new here, hi, my name's Sasha. I love indie makeup, I love colorful makeup, I love eyeshadows. So this is gonna be mostly colorful indie palettes, but I do have a couple neutrals as well. And yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right into the video. So the first category I have here is the oldest palette in my collection, and this palette is I don't have it too long in my collection, but it's the oldest by date of release. But I'm also gonna show you the oldest that I actually have. So the oldest by the date of release should be the Kaleidos the Flower Punk palette. I've actually got this like, I don't know, autumn last year, because I found it on because one person was selling it, and I just really wanted this one for so long. So this is the Kaleidos Flower Punk. It's a really beautiful palette. I've only used it like 4 times since I got it, because there was so many releases and so many things that I was reviewing at that time, and I'm still kind of in that process. Like, there's so many things that I've received that was delivered to me like 2 months ago, and I still haven't had time to film with that, because I also kind of want to use products that I have and I don't want to review every single week. But yeah, this one really beautiful and still wonderful. Like, the mattes and the shimmers are genuinely wonderful. I wouldn't expect that for something that old. And then another palette is really old. I think I've got this in my collection in June 2022. So it's 2.5 years old. And it's gonna be, and it's the Odin's Eye in collaboration with Angelica di Hella, the original Hella palette. It's gonna be 3 years now in summer, so I should definitely get some uses in her, so that I can, because obviously then it's gonna be like expired technically, and I want to use my palettes as much as I can before they technically expire. This one almost has a pen on this shade here, the double-sided, and I've used this palette like 50 times. It doesn't look like it's too used, because I like really try not to disturb anything, and I'm really careful with these, but so many of these have such a large dip, like the Rebirth and then the shade Moss, I think. Yeah, Moss. And also like Venom and Fluorescent. Like, these are my favorite shades from this palette, so I use that a lot, and it is visible, but I'm trying to like keep her, because she is so perfect. I think it's one of the best palettes I've ever had, and it was one of the first non-neutral palettes, or like the first full-on colorful palette that I've purchased. And it, first of all, it sparked my love for greens, which is like my ultimate love of my life, and it also made me like enjoy these darker, moodier colors that I haven't really I've been too scared to use before. So yeah, like, this just opened so many doors for me, and it started my love with Odin's Eye. It was one of the first things I've got. The other products were like the mini palette that I've got in one of those like Easter mystery boxes that they've had before this. I think it was like beginning of the year 2022. I don't have any of these anymore because some of them I've used up completely and some of them I've gotten away or like gotten rid of because they weren't really used in my collection. But this one, still wonderful, and I still reach for it once in a while. Not as often as I used to because I have so many palettes, but it's still amazing. Then the newest palette. Originally, when I was filling out the paper that I have all the answers written in, I thought I'm gonna mention this one because I've been playing with this one yesterday. It's the Cosmic Crypt by Sinful Echoes, and it's my first time trying Sinful Echoes because I didn't know that I'm gonna receive my monolith order today, and I have the new product on my eyes already. But this is the Cosmic Crypt. Sorry, the Cosmic Crypt, and you have 3 wonderful mattes and 3 multi-chromes here. It's a really beautiful small palette. I can't tell you much more about it. The review will come up at some point. Maybe it's already out on my channel because I don't know what will come first, but probably this video is gonna come before, so wait for the review. Obviously, I've only done one look. And then a palette that I'm currently in the process of reviewing, this is my first time using it today, is the Bitten palette by Gourmande Girls. I'm so happy about it. It's absolutely wonderful. It's so gorgeous. I've only used like the darker shades today, so I can't give you like a full-on review. But by the time you're watching this video, the review of this should be already up on my channel. But I love Gourmande Girls so much, and I just love their quality, and this is just beyond beautiful. I love this so much. Then a palette that's worth the hype. I kind of have 2 that I'm on the fence with because they're both absolutely wonderful, and I don't know what I would do without them. One of them I have here and one of them is at the dorm, so once I'll be at the dorm, once I'll get to the dorm later today, I'll just film a b-roll and show you how it looks like. But the one that I don't have here is the Winter Wonderland by Cosmic Beauty. It is so good. It is so extremely good. I don't think people realize how extremely gorgeous it is, and it's just, all the shades, all the textures, it's just, they really surprised me with that one. I did not expect to go that hard. I did not expect it to go that hard. It was just, love that one. And then a brand that I only have one palette of, and it completely knocked the wind out of me, is the Harvest of Souls by Fantasy Cosmetica. So this is how it looks like. It is just, I don't even know if there's like too much hype about this one, but it definitely would deserve it because there's so much you can do with this. Like seriously, there's so much you can do with this, and it is so beautiful. I can't even believe that this is actually in my possession. It's just, it's so good, and the quality of this is undescribable. Like the shimmers, the mattes, everything, and you have so many different textures and finishes when it comes to the shimmers. You have pastels in the mattes, you have really deep ones, you have kind of mid-tones, you have cool tones, warm tones. Like you have so many things, and they work wonderfully together in my opinion. Like, and I just really like the layout as well because I feel like no matter how you choose to use this palette, you're always gonna come up with a beautiful, beautiful look. So this one genuinely like knocked the wind out of me, and it's so pretty, and it kind of inspired me to buy the Monk palette. I haven't tried yet, it came today, but I can't wait to play with it because, let me look at her. I think I'm gonna review her a little bit later on because obviously it's a very warm palette, and I hope that in like 3 weeks it should be more sunny outside. Today it was snowing after like a month, or how long, maybe more than a month. Randomly it was just snowing when I woke up. I don't know what's happening, if the world is ending, but it's not even that. Well, it's around 0 degrees Celsius. But I really don't know what's happening today. It was so sunny yesterday and the other day. Like, I don't understand why it's snowing today. But yeah, that's worth the hype. Then palette that's too big. I don't have it here with me, the one that I've kind of chose for this, but I'm gonna show you b-roll. and that's the Divination palette by Blend Bunny. It is a wonderful palette. I absolutely love the quality, everything about it. It is gorgeous, and I've used it so many times. Like, I think I've already used it like 15 or 12 to 15 times, I think. Genuinely wonderful, but God, is it big. Like, it is really big, and I don't really need it to be that big. The part of it is also like there's a lot of neutrals here that I don't really wear neutrals. So for me, if there wasn't neutrals, maybe it wouldn't be too big. But yeah, I don't care for neutrals. So for me, the a whole row of neutrals is just too much. And there's also like 2 neutrals on the in the first row as well. And like, you know, for me it's a bit too much neutrals, so that makes it too big of a palette. But also like there's, I don't know, 36 shades, or like there's a lot of shades. Arguably maybe too many shades. I don't know if it's 30 or 36 pen, but I think there's more rows than columns. No, there's more, yeah, there's more rows than columns, so I think it's 30. But yeah, it's still too big. And then also kind of the Ireland palette by Nomad Cosmetics, because this is a 18 pen, which I wouldn't really mind because I do have a couple 18 pens and I'm okay with them. But this is all green, and I just feel like you don't have that much variety. Yes, I also have all green palette with the Undergirls by by Cosmic Brushes, but that one I feel like it gives you a bit more. Like you have golds, greens, yellows, browns, you know. But with this one, there's a bit of brown and there's a bit of gold and there's a bit of blue. But I feel like this one is kind of too similar. Like you have 3 very similar green mattes, 2 very similar darker green mattes, and I think 2 of the shimmers are also like very similar. Yeah, the gold and these 2, like they don't look that different on the eyes. So it's beautiful and I love this one. I genuinely love this palette and I use it quite a bit. But I always end up doing pretty much the same, unless I genuinely go like fully just yellow or fully just blue. But that means that I'm only gonna do like 3 shades from the palette, because otherwise like it's gonna look very similar every single time. So these 2 I think could have been edited a bit. The smallest palette I don't have here, but it's the Liana palette. It only has 4 shades, and I don't have one of the shades in there anymore. I've kind of used it up and I've repressed it. So when you're gonna see it in the B-roll, it's not gonna be the original layout. I'm gonna try to find a picture how it looked like before, if I haven't deleted that picture, because sometimes the older pictures I just kind of delete them. But yeah, it's the Liana palette, and I hope I'm gonna be able to use it up at some point because it is in my project pen. But that one is itty bitty, really cute. Then most used palette, the complete most used would be my Christmas palette by Udens ID Merry Christmas and Christmas Eve, because most of the shades I no longer have in those palettes, or at all, because I've used them up, and a couple are here. It's the small ones on the side here. So those are mostly from the Christmas Eve, a couple from the Merry Christmas, and a couple from the Merry Christmas are also in my Earth palette by Udens Eye, because I've used up all the eyeshadows from that palette, so I just repressed it into that one. So I just repressed a bunch of the green shades from Merry Christmas into this small Earth palette so that it's easier for me to carry it around. So again, I will show you B-roll and I will link the video where I'm repressing it in case you're interested in that. But yeah, most of these, like I think from the Merry Christmas, I only have 50% of the eyeshadows, and most of them are just like scraping, are just like barely anything in the pan. So yeah, like I think in like a month I'm only gonna have maybe like 5 or 6 shades from that palette. And from the Christmas Eve, I have like 2 more shades, I think. Like it's very similar. So those are my most used. And then another palette that I also don't have here because it's my project pen, and I keep the project pen product at my dorm because that's where I spend majority of my week or the whole week. And I only come here every other week usually for like 2-3 days. For like 2-3 days. But it's the Salmonette 2 palette from 2 years ago. I have, I think, two or three pans. It's one of the oldest palettes in my collection. I bought that right after the Hella palette because it released a couple months after. So yeah, those are the most used in my collection, and they're on my project pan, and maybe I'm not gonna have them next year. Definitely the Christmas palettes. I do want to just get rid of all the shades and use them up and give you my like statistics. But yeah, those are the most used. And like we're in the 100 of uses. Like I think Merry Christmas has like 120 or close to that, and Christmas Eve has like 110, 108, something like that. I think. Then a palette that is a great deal. I think I would appoint the Harvest of Souls because again, you can do so much, and I genuinely feel like if I only had this palette, I could still create wonderful looks and looks that I want to create on a daily basis for a really, really long time before I could even begin to feel like annoyed and what is the word? Like bored with it. You know, like I genuinely could use this for a really long time before that idea could even happen in my brain. So for that, I think the Harvest of Souls, but also to like not mention the same products all over. I also think it would be the Tis the Season palette by Cosmic Beauty. Again, I don't have it here because it's in my winter collection, and I do have that at the dorm to use it as much as I can. But that one, so many different shades, they work wonderfully together. You can create genuinely wonderful looks. And again, it's kind of like those color stories that I work the most with. There's a lot of similarities between these two. It's just that Tis the Season is slightly more, I guess, colorful. Like it looks definitely a lot more colorful, but they both, like, if I only had one of those, I could genuinely go for a really long time before even thinking about other palettes and other shades. Genuinely. So that's why I think that these two, and also they're not expensive. Obviously, Cosmic Brushes is very inexpensive and you get wonderful quality, and the Fantasy Cosmetica is slightly more expensive, but it's a magnetic palette, so you can swap it and just like really personalize it, and you're getting wonderful quality, like out of this world quality. So I feel like these genuinely, they like, I would pay in gold for these. They're wonderful. So I think those two. Then the most disappointing, I don't have it anymore, but it would be pretty much every single palette that I've decluttered. So if you want to see my a video where I talk about my collection and what stayed in my collection and what I've decluttered, I'm gonna link it down below, as well as my ranking from 2024, because I'm gonna mention a lot of palettes that no longer are in my collection because I've bought them that year and I decided not to keep them. I don't know what would be the most disappointing from that. The latest things that I got rid of from my collection are the Mio makeup mini palettes. I had the Miami, the Make It Funky Eyes, and then the Pistachio Gelato. I did kind of like the Pistachio Gelato, but I don't need another mini green palette. But yeah, those three, yeah, not that great. And then pretty much everything that I've decluttered last year at the end of last year. So yeah, you can check that out if you want to. From the palettes that I own, I think the most disappointing would be the Sinister palette from the Sinister box, because obviously when they sneak peeked the packaging and everything, I was just expecting a bit more. And also, I feel like the quality is the worst from all of my Cosmic Beauty palettes. Let me show you how it looks like. So this is the Sinister palette. Spoiler alert in case you don't want to see the inside. But for me, the shimmers aren't as good as they have in their other palettes. I think the only like really good shimmer is this one, and then maybe this pink. The rest of them aren't really all that great. Some of them are even like pretty bad in my opinion, or like they don't work with me. And then the mattes, like these two rows, yes, I do occasionally wear those, but the other, first of all, I don't love these shades too much, but like I would be okay with it if it, because like I kind of knew that it's gonna come to this territory, but I don't know, like if I compare the Bitten palette, for example, which is in my opinion pretty similar, in my opinion has kind of similar colors to just like a smaller version of that, right? I kind of, I don't know, like I just feel way more inspired with this than with this. I don't know, like it's not that it's bad palette, but it just, yeah, there's something, I was just expecting more, and I was just really expecting like, I don't know, more, I guess. I really enjoyed it when I first got it because it was just like a very exciting thing, and I was waiting for it for a really long time. So like the excitement kind of takes over. But the longer I'm looking at it, the less inspired I am, and the less, and I'm just not really feeling the vibe of this, if I'm being honest. Like, yes, I could do couple looks with this, and I think they would turn out nice, but I also feel like I would need a lot of other palettes to make it really like as creative and as fun as I would want it to be. So that one is kind of, I feel like for something that was a mystery box, so you couldn't really, so you didn't know what you're getting until you got it, I would kind of hope for a bit better quality. I think that's the biggest thing for me, that the quality just isn't that wonderful. The mattes are really nice. They're the same formula. Maybe two could be better, but the shimmers really disappointed me with this one. Then a palette that I like to use as a companion palette. I picked two. One of them is like more shimmer heavy, and one of them is more matte heavy. So yeah, it kind of depends if I need a companion that's more shimmer heavy or matte heavy. So that's why I picked two. And also they genuinely do work as companion palettes wonderfully for me. So for shimmers, and also for a matte black, because it's just, I don't have matte black in all of my palettes, but once in a while I do like to use it for kind of that like smoky eyeliner, is the Element of Evil by Sugar Drizzle. This one has one of the most wonderful shimmers that I've ever tried. Like all of these multichromes are genuinely out of this world. You have a couple of really pretty mattes as well, and you have the matte black, which is genuinely wonderful matte black. This is gorgeous, and like you have kind of yellows, orange, green, pink, purple, I don't know if I said green, kind of this like peachy blue, reddish berry color. Like you have so many different options, and genuinely all of them look wonderful. So when I need shimmers, this one always. And then for mattes, and also a wonderful pastel palette, is the Cosmic Beauty Delicious Delights. I use this so much. I always have it with me for like a longer, if I'm gonna go for like longer periods of time, because I can just find most of things that I could possibly want, and also it's colors that I use the most, like the yellows, the greens, the blues, the purples, the pinks, like these, especially these tones, I use them so often in my makeup. It's just something that I really enjoy using and having fun with. A lot of these, you could see like slight bit of dip, and this shade is getting close to pat. Like I do genuinely use this a lot, and it's just the eyeshadow looks that I've created either solely with this or accompanied with this, some of my favorites, genuinely some of my favorites. And it just always, like when I want to be creative and have fun, it's one of those palettes that I reach for the most to kind of help me either figure out a fun color story, or just, you know, get inspired, because I don't know, there's something about the color story and the layout and the everything that just really inspires me. Oh my god, I can't speak. Then the palette I wish I've bought, well, the first thing that came to my mind was Club Nebula by Kaleidos. I haven't known about that brand at the time that it was released, and I didn't know about Angelica at the time it was released. I kind of discovered her a little bit later when it was already sold out. But if I knew about this, oh my god, I would get that immediately. For quite a while, I was kind of wondering if I should buy the, I think it's Electro Turquoise by Kaleidos. It's one of those small ones. I never got it. Now I think they brought it back, but I'm kind of like over it, and I also kind of already found like dupes, not as a mini palette, but kind of palettes that allow me to do similar thing and more. So that one, and then I think the first Diavrun palette, the Moth and the Moon, I think Moth and something. I can't remember how it was called, but the original one. I've waited so long to buy it because I couldn't afford it, and also like if I bought anything new, it wasn't a new brand because I was kind of scared to try a new brand at that point, and I didn't really have too much money to spend on something that I don't know if it's gonna work. So around the time where that released, there were a couple purchases that I made, but it was all from brands that I already knew I'm gonna like, and I knew that I like the color stories of these products. So yeah, I waited, and then it wasn't available, and then it got discontinued. So I wish I had that one, because I had the Witch of the Wildflower now, and yeah, it's so gorgeous, and I do hope I'm gonna be able to get the mini shimmer palette, the Moth and the Moon, that they came out with recently. But I already spent too much money on Monolith this month because I bought 3 palettes, and I'm kind of trying to slow down and be a bit more, I don't know, clever. And since I bought the Bitten because like I just need that, and I haven't bought anything from Gourmande Girls in so long, and I just needed that. And then I bought the Galactic Visitor, the Singe Beauty palette, because like obviously it's Singe and it's Angelica and I need that. And I bought the Monk by Fantasy Cosmetica because lately on Instagram I've been seeing everybody using or like talking about or showing the Naked Honey palette by Urban Decay. I've had that palette and I got rid of it because I didn't like it. But that color story still lives in my head, and lately, I don't know, like I've just been really into that, and I kind of want to have a similar palette to that, and the Monk kind of is that but better. You know, like I know that the mattes will be so much better and the shimmers will be so much better, and I'm gonna enjoy it so much more. So yeah, but I just really wanted kind of that color story again, and I don't have a small palette like that. I was even looking at like was it the Star Wars palette, like the Goldman, the gold palette. Yeah, like I was just looking at these palettes, and then this came out, so I just needed that because obviously it's gonna be way better quality than Colourpop or Urban Decay. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, number 11. Favorite brand. There's one that I'm gonna talk in the next category because it's the one that I have the most palettes of. But apart from that, I think it would be Cosmic Beauty. I just love their palettes, and they're like affordable and good quality. I know I can count on them. The mattes are genuinely wonderful. The shimmers, I have better shimmers in my collection, but also it's not that they're bad, and I do enjoy them on their own as well, and I do use them a lot on their own. It's just that I know I could technically find better shimmers in my collection, but also just like I don't think I could find that many better mattes in my collection. And I love the color stories that they come up with. I love the price point. I just think that they have really good palettes, and even though they're 20 pens, which is usually a little bit bigger than I prefer, they're just really nice to use, and there's something about the way that they put everything together, like it just works for me, and it's genuinely been a favorite of mine. And then another that I feel like also is really good for mattes and shimmers together is Gourmande Girls. There are a lot of brands that I have that are kind of like either really good for mattes or really good for shimmers or really good like everyday products, but Cosmic Beauty and Gourmande Girls I feel like are really nicely in between, and they work in both directions, which is kind of perfect in my opinion. I didn't want to put like Fantasy Cosmetic or something, like I didn't want to put brands that I only have like 1 or 2 palettes of, because then it's maybe I just have the best palettes that they have, right? Like, and obviously I don't have every single Gourmande Girl palette, and I don't have every single Cosmic brushes, but I have like I think 5 Cosmic brushes palettes, and I've had the Gothic as well. And then from Gourmande Girls, I have 4 now. Yeah, for the Spooked, the Nightshade, Haunted, and the Bitten. So yeah, 4 palettes. And they're really consistent with the quality. Like, I don't think there's any difference when it comes to the formulas and the quality. Super consistent. So I think those two would be right at the top. And then the brand that I have the most palettes of is Uden's Eye, because that's kind of my first official indie brand that I've got into, and I've just had so many palettes from them. So yeah, I don't even know how many palettes I have. I have the 3 Hella, obviously the 2 Christmas palettes that I'm kind of deconstructing. I have the 2 Salmon palettes. I have the Mighty Monster. I finished the Earth, so I don't have that anymore. Is there anything else from them? Yeah, I don't think I have any of the smaller palettes anymore. So that's 9 palettes, and I have like what, 60 palettes. So 9 is a lot. It's definitely the biggest part of my collection. Then my favorite palette. This one was really hard because I feel like every single day I could give you different advice, different answer. If I remember correctly, on the spot number 1 in my yearly ranking from the palettes that I've tried last year, it was the Harvest of Souls. Surprise, surprise, right? But it's genuinely, it's just wonderful palette. There's no denying that. Like, if anyone is against that idea, there's something wrong with you, probably. And then the second palette that came to my mind, I don't know what the ranking was in the yearly ranking video, but the second palette that came to my mind because there's just something really amazing about the color store, and the longer I have it, the more I'm sure about that, is the Mount Fuji palette by Nomad. They did something incredible with that one. And I'm not talking about the fact that it's absolutely the most wonderful packaging that I've ever seen, but the inside, I don't know, like the more I'm looking at this, the more I love it. The more I love it. It's just so perfect. I have no clue how come I've never seen a palette like this before, but it is just such a versatile color story. And again, you can see like there's something similar with the Harvest of Souls. This one I just feel like is slightly more fresher and like more colorful, or like, you know, just like maybe more like childlike compared to the Harvest of Souls. But there's something similar to me about them and about the like logic behind them, I guess. So good. It's so good. So yeah, these were the 2, when I was writing this list, these were the 2 that I thought of. So yeah, yeah. And if I didn't have too many things to ban this year, I wouldn't be surprised by the end of this year if both of these had many bans in them. Like, genuinely, if I didn't have so many project bans happening, or like so many things to ban and use up, this would definitely get insane amount of uses this year, and it probably is gonna get many uses anyways. Then the most affordable palette, I think it would be the Liana, because it's really small and really inexpensive. Or it would be, and now I'm not sure about the price, but either the Winnie the Pooh by Colourpop or the Tinkerbell palette by Colourpop. I think those are the 3 least expensive palettes that I own in my collection. Because usually I buy like indie brands. So, and I don't have any like Essence or Catrice or any drugstore brand, so it would definitely have to be Colourpop or the Shall We Makeup, just because it's super small. And I genuinely don't remember it being too expensive anyways. So yeah, these would be in that category. Then the most expensive, I think, would be the Sinister palette, because you can't buy it on its own. You had to buy it in the box, and the box was like obviously more expensive. So yeah, since you can't get it out of without the box, this one is the most expensive, and I think that's also why it kind of why I'm feeling a little bit salty about that, because you know I was just expecting a bit more. And then another one, I think that that's the most expensive, would be the Paleo palette by Cleonut, because it's Cleonut, it's pretty expensive, and also the shipping was really expensive to get here. And my everyday palette. This is so hard to tell. This is so hard to tell because I don't really have like an everyday look. Yeah, like I'm a parrot. Every single day I have completely different color, different depth, different style. Like literally, if you watch my weekly, like my makeup diary, my weekly makeup diary, every single day it's completely different. So I don't know if there's any possible way to say what would be my everyday palette. But I feel like if I were to go to that route of like a palette that I can technically wear for like pretty much any situation, whether it's just that I want to wear for makeup, or I want to go to work, I want to go to, I don't know, a prom or something, you know. I feel like the one that I could use for like pretty much anything, and I would really enjoy it, and I could do something pretty light but also like pretty deep and smoky and like really out there, is this booked palette by Gourmande Girls, because you can do like a full-on black smoky eye. You can also go like super lightweight with these kind of peachy tones. You have some like kind of olivey tones, but you have also like the purples, the greens, the pinks. Like I can see myself doing a lot with this, and I do actually use this palette quite a lot. 3 shades are almost hitting a pan. Yeah, like it's a palette that I know I can kind of count on, and I could use for plethora of different situations. And then a palette that I would take on a deserted island. Again, probably either the Heroes of Souls or the 'Tis the Season palette. Or to like really have a lot of options, it would be the Divination palette. Because again, like it has a lot of options. And yeah, I think with either of these 3, I could survive for a really long time and like not really feel bored or a need to get another palette. And then the most colorful. So either it's the Divination, because obviously it's a rainbow palette, or 2 other that I feel like you could do anything. One is the Linz and Blind Bunny Cosmetics, because like honestly this is so many different options, but like it's not a rainbow palette, but you pretty much have every single color. You have yellows, cool tone greens, warm tone greens, peaches, purples, pinks, berries, blues. You even have black, or like kind of, and you have white. So this one is super colorful, and it's technically this could have been also a really wonderful companion palette, because I've been kind of using it as a companion palette and then just like adding maybe one matte and a shimmer or 2 to that. But yeah, this one, oh, so good. And then also a palette that I don't really use that much now, but I've used it so much when I got it, like it already has like I think 20 uses on it, is the Pokemon palette, the Palette Town by Colourpop. The best palette that they've ever had, I think. And yeah, this one is a rainbow palette. Like it has yellows, oranges, reds, pinks, purples, greens, blues, everything. Everything you could ever ask for. It has neutrals as well. I've changed a couple of the shimmer shades because I don't really enjoy Colourpop shimmer, so I only have a couple of the shades. But I think the 2 best shades from this that are originally in this palette is the Indigo League Wonderful Deep Blue, and then this Seafoamy shade called Evolution. Genuinely, these, they're worth it. I do really love them. I wish that they would keep this formula for all of their shimmers. If all of them are like this, I would genuinely like praise Colourpop to heaven. But yeah, those are those are all the palettes. It's been a lot, but yeah, those are my picks. Let me know what you think about them. Let me know if there are any of your palettes that you would put in any of these categories. Definitely share down below. Maybe I have those palettes as well, and maybe I just haven't really thought about them in that light. So definitely let me know down below. And if you have any suggestions for other categories that I could add to this, let me know down below, because I'm just always on a hunt for like a nice suggestion. So if you know about other categories that people usually mention in these palette tech videos, leave them down below. I just, I mean, it already has 18 points, but it already has 18 categories, but we can always add some more. Or maybe I should take some out. I don't know, but definitely let me know down below. And with that being said, have a wonderful day, and I'll be super happy to see you with another video. So bye.